Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new episode of NASCAR Heat 3 Career Mode. Today we will be going to some road course racing here at Watkins Glen for the Xfinity Series with Hailie Deegan and myself. So I'm excited to get back to some road course racing, and we were hoping that Hailie Deegan could do a great job, and she did just that as we came to the Xfinity race. She qualified on the pole in Watkins Glen as we went into turn 1. She would briefly lose the lead. As you see, she gets hit in the right rear by Cole Custer in turn 1, but she loses the lead to, I believe that is Ryan Preece in the first part of this track, the first sector, but she would regain the lead back as we came up on the exit of the S's. She would look over to his right hand side and she would easily be able to take the lead back here at the Glen, and she would really never look back as we came through to about the midway point in the race, as she was just starting to pull away a little bit from Ryan Preece as she stretched out the gap every lap, and she would continue to do so throughout the rest of this race, but it would actually close up a little bit towards the end as we came to the final lap, as she's just trying to hang on to victory as we come into the final sector of this course, into turn 10, down into as well as turns 11 to end this race. Now as she comes right into turn 10 with a solid gap between herself and second place, which gives her the comfortable feeling going into the final turn of turn 11 as she comes out of the corner. Hailie Deegan, 2 wins on the season, would hang on in Watkins Glen to get win number 3 on her Xfinity Series career here in Watkins Glen, so we're very satisfied with that result. And I really think this is an indicator of what I need to do in my Cup race. I really need to step it up. We finished second here before. We'll get back to that later in a moment, but now it's Hailie Deegan, 3 wins on the season, so obviously sitting very well when it comes to looking at the playoff picture. As you see, Ryan Preece came up just short in second place, JJ Yaley down there in 20th, so now let's see who got last. Is Morgan Shepherd, the legend himself, so good for him, but obviously a good bunch of money brought into the team. Hailie sits P5 in the regular season standings, so obviously sitting pretty decent in that, but it's not really the regular season that I'm concerned about. We're just trying to get the playoff points here, as we do get over $1 million for an Xfinity race from Hailie Deegan winning for us. So 3rd win for her career. As we look to the Cup race, we finished twice in the last 2 races, and we're trying to change that. And last time we came to Watkins Glen last season, we finished 2nd there too, and we made it to the final round in qualifying, sitting pretty good. We get through turn 11, not as good as I would like to, but it was good enough to come down the front straightaway. As we come through to cross the line, we would hit a 108.171. That's not going to be a pole time, but I called it there, and we will qualify in the 4th position to start Watkins Glen. So let's go road course racing here.
Today, the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series visits New York and Watkins Glen International for the running of the Go Bowling at the Glen. The Glen is NASCAR's 2nd road course stop of the season. In 2015, this 2.5-mile 7-turn track underwent a full repave that made the racing surface much smoother and added a ton of grip. However, drivers still need to be careful out there, especially when entering the famed bus stop chicane, an area of the track notorious for taking out even the best drivers. Okay, the pins are set. It's time to go bowling at the Glen.
All right, we are ready to get going in Watkins Glen. Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin on the front row. Clint Bowyer looks a bit slow today, so their team has their work cut out for them, and that's really the only note coming into this race as we get ready to start from P4 as Denny Hamlin gets ready to lead the way here at Watkins Glen, and the green flag is out. We are going road course racing as we come across the line, surrounded by Joe Gibbs Racing and a Joe Gibbs Racing affiliate down into turns 1. Kyle Busch, Hamlin side by side as we go into turns 1, getting clear of the 78 of Martin Truex Jr. to immediately move into 3rd, and we come along the side of the 11 of Denny Hamlin. We pass him going into the S's, so very quickly we go from P4 to P2 here in Watkins Glen as we come out of the S's, now setting our sights on the number 18 of Kyle Busch. And last time we raced at Watkins Glen in the Cup Series, we were 2nd place and the leader just drove away. We couldn't really keep up with them, and that was Denny Hamlin that dominated that race. Now as we come through the bus stop, heading down into the carousel here to start this first lap, Denny Hamlin right now sits behind me in P3. I believe Truex still in the 4th position as we shift down to 2nd gear in the carousel. It seemed like if I shifted down to 2nd, it could help me turn a little bit better off the exit of the carousel. Now as we head down towards turn 11, you immediately see Kyle Busch pulling away, and I was getting concerned very very early on, I was automatically or immediately thinking that we're set in stone for maybe another second place finish for the third time in a row here in Watkins Glen. And as we come out of the final turn, down the front straightaway to complete that first lap, Kyle Busch would continue to pull away by the time we came to lap 2 of 4 in stage 1. Hamlin, he's only a few car lengths behind me, and you see Kyle Busch, he's well over a second ahead, maybe just about 2 seconds ahead now as we enter the carousel once again, just trying to run that 18 down, but obviously not looking like in stage 1 that it's going to happen. So I was certainly having a lot of a confidence drop at this point in the race, thinking that, like I said earlier, I'm going to get another second place finish, but by the time we came to the final lap in the stage, we pulled away from third place of Denny Hamlin, but Kyle Busch continued to drive away. Obviously, stage 1 and 2 are very short in this race, just like Sonoma was, so certainly not a lot of time for stuff to happen in these two stages. Now as we come out of the carousel, Denny Hamlin did lose third place to Joey Logano now as we head down into turn 10 and 11 for the final time in stage 1. Kyle Busch clearly setting himself up for a great race as he's going to come out of turn 11 and myself come out of turn 11, and Kyle Busch is going to hang on to win the first stage in Watkins Glen as we're going to come through just ahead of Joey Logano to get P2 in stage 1, which is disappointing for me because I know how we've run here in the past is this exact position and I want to get out of second, but fortunately we still get a good group of points for myself at the end of this stage as Truex rounds out the top 5 and Daniel Suarez gets the final stage paying position. And obviously this will set us up on the right hand side for the restart in stage 2, which gives me an opportunity to maybe take the lead from Kyle Busch like I did from Denny Hamlin here last season at the start of stage 2 when we blew it away though. As we get ready to go green, the green flag's back out. Stage 2 is underway here in Watkins Glen as we head down into turns 1 side by side with the number 18 car of Kyle Busch, braking early now as we slide up the track a little bit, just about making contact with him, but we get very sideways on the exit of the corner and completely blow our chances of taking the lead here in Watkins Glen, but we get a big solid run through the S's and closing up on the back of the 18 very quickly. We move over to the left hand side trying to make something happen, but that slows our momentum up as me and Kyle Busch immediately pull away from the back of pull away from third place and the rest of the field as we come through the bus stop right on his back bumper now as we exit it going into the carousel on this first lap in stage 2, which is also only 4 laps, so not a lot of time at all to make something happen as we exit the carousel. You see Kyle Busch's strong points in this race really seem to be turns 1 and the carousel. And my strong parts seem to be the bus stop and the S's. So if I can just figure out maybe how to get a better exit on the carousel and out of turn 1, we might have a chance to challenge this number 18 car piloted by Kyle Busch as we exit turn 11. Getting on the curb a bit, certainly screwing up my momentum, but we come out of the final turn down the front straightaway to complete the first lap, and we still sit P2 by the time we come towards the later half of lap 2. But this time you notice that the 18, he isn't quite pulling away as much as he was before, as I'm starting to maybe figure something out now as we come through the carousel again. This time I'm taking a pretty low exit and I decided to stay in third gear, and it ended up working out pretty well as on the end of this lap we actually closed up on him a bit more as we came to the end of lap 2. We didn't really lose any time to Kyle Busch, but by the time we came to the final lap in the stage, he did stretch out the gap just a little bit, but I was certainly starting to figure something out here in Watkins Glen as we get very sideways through the bus stop going through the grass, but fortunately we hang on to the car now as we come through the carousel for the final time in this second stage, closing in on the back of the 18 of Kyle Busch within this last sector, but obviously not enough time to run him down. But it certainly was a confidence booster knowing that maybe we have found something and maybe we're going to have a shot at maybe passing Kyle Busch for the lead in the next stage as we come through turns 10 now, heading down into turns 11 for the final time in stage 2, hitting those two corners very well as we exit turn 11 down the front straightaway. Kyle Busch will hang on to win the second stage as well, as I will once again come through to get the second position in stage 2 as Joey Logano, Hamlin, and Harvick round out the top 5, and Brad Keselowski will round out the top 10 for the final stage points paying position here in Watkins Glen. And this would once again set us up on the right-hand side for the restart with Kyle Busch. And obviously Kyle Busch, he's not the very happiest with me right now after the last episode. He wasn't very happy with me after the incident in Pocono at the end of this race. And we're trying to stay clean with him as green flag is out. It is 10 laps remaining in Watkins Glen as we try to decide a winner as we head down into turns 1. Hamlin's going to force it up our inside 3 wide in the middle. And we're going to get shoved wide now out of turn 1, getting sideways. But we hang on to the car and manage to hang on to third place. But certainly a bit of a setback as I was not expecting the 11 to shoot up my inside. It was kind of my fault. I left that space open for him, and he took full advantage. So certainly a setback for me, as we are not going to waste any time. If he wants to do that, we're going to certainly force the issue going into the bus stop. As we come up his right side, he decides to back out of it, and we take over second place. Certainly not what we needed to have happen, as it already puts a little bit of a gap between myself and Kyle Busch, but fortunately the gap was not as big as I expected it to be after we got passed by the 11 of Hamlin. So certainly an ambitious move by the 11 of Denny Hamlin, and it worked for him, but fortunately we were able to get that position back as we come down into turns 10 through on the exit now, heading into turn 11. And as we head into turn 11, we get barely into the grass, and it shoots me sideways, but fortunately I hang on to the car, and that puts the gap between myself and Kyle Busch even larger as we came through to complete that first lap of this final stage. And by the time we came towards the later half of lap 16, we certainly closed in once again a little bit on that 18, and it certainly seemed like I was closing faster than I had been all race as we head down into turns 11, nailing this corner as we exit it, closing up even more on the back of the 18 of Kyle Busch, certainly looking like we might have a chance to pull off a victory if we can get to his back bumper as we hit just 8 laps to go in Watkins Glen. Heading down into turns 1, going for a bit of a slide and going wide. It certainly seemed like if I wanted to minimize the gap between myself and the 18, I had to go a bit wide on the exit of turn 1 as we get sideways up through the S's, but we still find a way to slowly close the gap. Even after screwing up in the S's, we at least closed in just a little bit, but by the time we came to lap 19, we're starting to lose more ground as we head down in to turns 1, running wide, trying to make something happen as we try to run down the 18 of Kyle Busch as we come up through the S's, trying my best to close this gap on him, but he's pulling away every chance I get. We kind of screw up and let him pull away even farther, as it's about 1 second to myself and Kyle Busch now as we head down the straightaway heading into the bus stop. But this time as we come into the bus stop, certainly one of the better bus stops I hit throughout the race, and you see the gap close up, a good sizable gap between myself and Kyle Busch got taken away right there as we come through the carousel exiting. He obviously opens up just a little bit of the gap, but it's down to 0.8 of a second between myself and the 18 now of Kyle Busch as we head down into turns 10 and in towards turn 11. It is 5 laps to go at the line. We certainly are still within range of the 18 of Kyle Busch. It's just we need to try and find a way to get to his back bumper as we exit turn 11, nailing turn 11 now as it's 0.9 between myself and Kyle Busch as we come across the line to hit a 107.6, one of my better laps I have ran as we make the run down once again into turns 1, getting sideways again and going just a little bit wide, trying to minimize the gap lost out of turn 1 as we come through the S's, our strong point on the track now through the right S, and we will end up getting a caution from 6th place Joey Logano. I could not find in the replay what happened, but he obviously brought out the caution, and this would set up a 2-lap dash to end this race, and I immediately knew what I had to do. I had to be aggressive here as we get ready to go green in Watkins Glen. The green flag is back out. It is 2 laps to go here in the road course, and we start to pull away from the 18 now. It's going to turns 1. He hits me in the left rear, shooting me to the curb, but we hang on as we exit turn 1, getting turned just about by the 18 as we make contact, almost turned into the wall, but we hang on to the car and come out as the leader as we go through the S's now, leading in Watkins Glen over the 18 of Kyle Busch as we are finally in command at the road courses. Chase Elliott lurks behind Kyle Busch in 3rd place as we make the run down the straightaway heading into the bus stop, trying to get our 2nd win of the season and career win number 4 now as we kind of blow the bus stop a little bit, allowing the 18 to close up on my bumper now as we come through the carousel, trying to hang on to the lead as we exit the carousel. Kyle Busch going to stay all over my back bumper now. Kyle Busch certainly has the fastest car, but it might not matter if we can hang on as we go down into turns 10, going a little bit wide now as we exit the corner, getting loose on the exit, and that's going to really allow the 18 to get to me as we have a bad entrance into turn 11 as well as we come out of turn 11, hitting the white flag this time by as we come through the front straightaway to cross the line. The white flag is out, and I decide to go defensive over towards the right side of the track to protect the bottom, and Kyle Busch sends it up the left-hand side, and Chase Elliott joins the party as well as he nearly gets into the back of me as we make contact with the 18 of Kyle Busch as we go through side by side into the S's, and he is forced to back out of it as we just barely clear him as he now has to fight Chase Elliott in the number 9 side by side as we exit the S's once again in command as we come down the the straightaway, trying to hang on for the victory, for our first road course victory as well, as we head down into the bus stop for the final time in Watkins Glen. Kyle Busch again closing the gap to himself, or to myself, as we exit the bus stop into the carousel for the final time. He certainly has a lower entrance to the corner and a lower exit, allowing him to close up just a little bit as we come down the straightaway, trying to make it into turns 10 and turn 11. If we can make it to turn 11 as the leader, we'll be okay as we head down now into turns 10 for the final time. Kyle Busch is not going to be able to get to my back bumper there as we come into turn 11 for the final time in Watkins Glen. We will come out the leader, and it's going to stay that way. One win on the season, about to become two, as we will win in Watkins Glen.
Nice work today. Check the flag.
Joey Logano allowed me to bring home the victory after he brought out the caution here in Watkins Glen. Certainly a thrilling finish at this racetrack. That was a lot of fun to drive. I was actually getting nervous just behind the wheel, which I don't really get nervous playing this game, but I certainly was nervous there, as obviously I'm not going to wait to burn this car down. We've been trying so hard to get back to victory lane that I decided to blow the engine on this thing because I was so excited as we continued to burn it down the front straightaway, seeing how long I could go, but it would end there as we blew the engine, which is the best blown engine I've ever had, as we finally get our second win on the season after winning earlier in the season at Dover. So it was certainly nice to get back to victory lane, and I didn't think I was going to ever win here on a preset setup, but we made it happen. So a great effort. And Kyle Busch, he's got to be disappointed and maybe upset, as he wasn't very happy with me last race, and we certainly got pretty aggressive with him, making contact with him. He almost turned me head on into the wall on the final restart, which just about destroyed our race, obviously. But fortunately, we held on to the lead in a thrilling finish here in Watkins Glen, as we, like I said, pick up win number 2, now 13 playoff points. So third in the regular season standings, but I believe we're still like 4th or 5th in the playoff standings, as we have the Go Bowling Trophy here from the Glen. There's our car in victory lane. The first time we put the McDonald's Cessna car in victory lane in Dover, it was the Cessna DC Solar car that we won with. So nice to get McDonald's in victory lane. Could be the final time, because we won't be returning to this team for the 2019 DLC. We will be going to a new team. So it's pretty obvious. I think I will be going to the 41 car, but we have momentum, which I hate momentum. I really hope they take that out in the next game. So we're certainly going to be pretty fast going into Michigan, which we also finished second there last time.
Wow, everybody's talking about you, how clean you drive and how professional you are. Great job. Keep it up.
Thank you, Ray Evernham, and we have some more messages.
You've raced really clean these last few races. Nice job. I'm impressed.
All right, thank you, Austin.
You're racing well out there. Your whole team's been on fire. Keep that momentum going.
And thank you, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. We have nothing but kind words from other drivers, which is nice to hear, but I doubt Jimmy Johnson or Kyle Busch is still the happiest with me, but fortunately we don't have them as rivals yet. We were close last season, and it's almost looking like we might get into that situation again this season with both of them, but we're going to try our best to make it through this second season and go 2 whole seasons without a single rival, which I've never done in any NASCAR Heat game since they've put rivals in NASCAR Heat 2. So in the next episode, we will be going to Mid-Ohio for the Xfinity Series, so we'll see how Hailie Deegan does there, and then we obviously go back to Michigan, where I finished second earlier this season in the Cup Series there, as you see Hailie Deegan's rivals, and you see my rivals, or not rivals yet, but drivers upset with me. Jimmy Johnson and Kyle Busch are the only drivers that are really upset. But if you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Those would all be very appreciated. I would like to thank you guys for taking the time out of your day to just check out my channel and watch one of my videos. There you see the playoff grid as we head down into Michigan. It'll be 4 races left, I believe, to the playoffs. Chase Elliott now with a bit of a comfortable lead over Blaney for that last playoff spot with 27 points to the good. So we'll see if Blaney can come back and get himself into the playoffs in the next episode. So I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching, everybody. Have yourselves a great day, and I will see you guys in the next episode.